Scientists tell us that we are currently stretching our Earth to breaking point, so the systems that support us, from the climate we live in to the oceans, fresh water, land use and biodiversity, are becoming stretched to their limit. How do we turn the curve? Get to the point where we realise something different needs to be done.
The Greater Geraldton City region, around 5 hours north of Perth, has decided it's time to do something different. They're faced with the threatened collapse of the region's traditional fishing and agricultural industries, and they're vulnerable to climate change. At the same time, they've got opportunities for mining and technological development, and they have excellent alternative energy sources. Because of that, they've decided to take an innovative path to change. They've decided to turn the curve by engaging ordinary citizens in conversations that matter, and that way developing a deliberative community, and then empowering the community through joint decision-making or collaborative governance. Now, this will give the community a chance to develop resilience, and that's going to be so important to deal with the challenges as they arise. And of course, it's the bedrock of developing a sustainable future. We've created a special alliance group of the decision makers among industry and the community, government. We've also got very ordinary citizens who didn't play any particular role before, and they were randomly sampled, and they're part of this decision-making group.
I thought it was really important as an Indigenous person to be involved in the decision-making around what our community want for the future, and what better way to do that than through this consultative mechanism. And personally, I was born and bred in Geraldton. I've seen lots of changes, and I'd love to be involved in the future of our town.
I think as the editor of the newspaper, which really is the main communication vehicle between the city and the community, it's important that we are involved and that we understand the process, and we help the city to inform the people that this is a real process that is really about engaging the community and getting them involved.
So that is going to happen. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to happen around Geraldton that we aren't going to be able to influence. A great man, Mahatma Gandhi, once said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." And I love that. I reckon it's just a fantastic saying.
Well, this project is exciting because you not only got the alliance group or the governance group, but you've got the champions that are going around and really getting into the community. And some of the comments from our community is no one's ever asked us this before, which is a good thing because it's an inclusive process, and you'll get it right if you do that.
We have 40 community champions. We simply put an advertisement in the newspaper. These are people who are being trained in order to deliver deliberative events throughout the community. And we've just finished a series of World Cafes on how people see the future and what they would like to change and keep moving into the future.
It's a really exciting time to gather again. You've been part of the World Cafe journey.
They'd come along not having really any idea what they were going to be asked, but when you put that question to them, what is it you really enjoy about Geraldton, it really sort of got them thinking in a way that they've never been perhaps directly questioned before.
The questions actually had everyone speaking about what they thought, what they dreamt of. So yes, it started the dreaming process, I would say.
I think one of the good things that came out of mine was the fact that we had people in their 20s and we had people in their 60s, and the people in their 60s and their 20s were very interested to see what each other had to say, and they realised that, in their normal conversations and normal people they meet, it's their own age group they're talking to. It's not often that those two ranges of age groups talking.
The Champions group, together with the Alliance team, will be prioritising and deciding on the things we can do right now, and so we can be very responsive as we go. A deliberative survey has been conducted with around 3,000 citizens from the region. They were randomly selected by the Western Australian Electoral Commission. They received a community survey and it was focused on some of the key sustainability challenges that are facing the region. Then those randomly selected citizens were invited to attend a one-day deliberative forum. What we want to know is, where are people at when it comes to the tough decisions that need to be made with climate change and sustainability? And to what extent would they be prepared to shift their own behaviour? To what extent would they be prepared to even be paying more money to be more sustainable in the future? And what we want to know is that at the end of a day of careful deliberation, understanding the viewpoints, understanding what may or may not happen according to the science, do people shift their viewpoints or do they stay the same? This will give the decision makers some clue about the extent to which they can bring the people with them in the key decisions that matter. What the data showed was that the community was far more ready to take action on becoming carbon neutral than the decision makers had ever thought. And the forum consolidated that resolve even further. At the Geraldton Big Sky, Big Ideas Festival, we're going to be launching our online deliberation, especially trying to get young people and interested people in the community more engaged in the sorts of ways they are used to being engaged. We will be giving people, festival goers, a real try at using this software and then inviting them to do it. And the software actually puts people into self-managed teams around a topic that they're interested in, which they can develop up into a real proposal, almost like a think tank. We'll also be launching our web page, and that's going to have easy access to a whole variety of innovative social media, the usual of the Twitter and the Facebook and the blogs and the wikis. And it will have the additional component that will have their permission that the researchers can take a look at the mood of the community in terms of the key issues that we're looking at: climate change and sustainability and carbon-free and sustainable population and so forth. All of this is trying to get a deliberative community, a community that's prepared to have conversations that matter about issues that are really important not only to them but to future generations, to understand different viewpoints and to see if they can come up with a coherent voice about the sort of future that they want to live in.